What's good, YouTube? What's good, YouTube? Different reaction vlogs here. And today, we'll be reacting to NFL cheating moments. This video was recommended by my homeboy. So, and then now we're gonna react to this thing. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. By the way, I appreciate the love and support off of my TikTok, my new one, where I just do a whole bunch of dumb shit. But other than that, appreciate y'all for supporting it. Hopefully you guys are loving the content I'm putting up there, and if you guys don't, well then damn. Sorry that I'm disappointing. But anyway, we're gonna get straight to the vid. Make sure you guys subscribe, comment down below what other type of content y'all want. Let's get into it.
Looks like this. He was going to pay off the officials.
Oh!
This is the
Wow! All right,
in the NFL.
we're taking it to the next level with paying the
20th
officials.
century. And for the
20th
first 20
century.
years, it was like the Wild
Wow!
West.
I
Got banned
do
for
not
using
know
college
that
kids
much
under
about
fake
football,
names. The Cardinals stole a
but
title
I
using
know
nice
enough.
colors, and
Okay,
coaches were
this is for the
basically making
football.
up
This is
rules
for
on
the.
fly.
This is for
Well,
the.
that definitely
This is
changed
not
in
Hooper
1946.
Nation. This
That
is
was the year the
football
Cleveland
nation.
Browns were formed by
Okay,
and
this is
named
for the
after
football
football
players.
coach Paul Brown. And this guy wanted to win
A
so
coach is
badly,
crazy.
he basically invented modern football.
The timed 40-yard dash, the draw play, the pocket to protect his
So this is the
quarterback.
play.
He was the first to put all his plays on paper and have players study
That
them.
is
He used
actually
film
impressive.
to study teams.
Even the face mask. And mind you, the Browns weren't even in the NFL at this point. They were in the AAFC, a rival organization, and the Browns were still
That is
tryharding
actually
the sport.
impressive.
He was trying so hard, in fact, that he didn't stop at inventing new plays. He also invented a ton of ways to cheat. He was sending fake reporters to spy on other practices and having scouts climb poles with binoculars. That's
Well,
straight
damn.
Cold War type behavior. But since he was going full tryhard mode to win, paranoia started to kick in too. So paranoid that he'd sweep the locker room for bugs, then give pregame speeches where he'd half talk the players, half search for bugs again. By 1948, the league knew but barely batted an eye. Because the thing was, the Browns were unstoppable. Sure, some of it was probably from cheating, but Paul was also a football savant, winning every AAFC championship from 46 to 49. And when the NFL absorbed the AAFC in 1950, the Browns entered and immediately won that championship too. For a while, nobody could really touch him. But in 1956, Brown finally crossed the line. Because that year was when he unveiled literal war technology.
The local guy, he had familiarity with tank helmets from World War II. They put a receiver in a football helmet.
Oh no!
In-helmet comms 4 decades before the rest of the league finally caught up. And sure, there were some problems.
No way!
Have a problem with outside interference. The quarterback, he was getting signals from a taxi company.
You felt like an idiot with the thing because it was an antenna and you would have to turn like that. So I'd have to stand outside the huddle going like this, until he came in loud and clear.
But when it did work, it allowed the Browns
Wow.
to call audibles from the sideline and turn the field into a chessboard. Unfortunately, though, it wasn't long until other teams caught on.
Had a
The
whole
Lions figured out the
speaker
Browns had a sideline transmitter.
inside
The Giants
of a
supposedly
helmet.
intercepted the
I
signal
thought
with
that's
their
what
own
they do
receiver.
nowadays.
And in no time,
Why am I
Paul
tripping?
Brown got exposed. The league banned coach to QB devices all the way until 1994. So after a decade
Yeah,
of running
okay.
pro football like a
That makes
CIA
sense,
op,
because,
Paul
I
Brown
mean,
finally got slapped down.
how the
But he
fuck you
should
gonna
get
know the
some
plays?
recognition for the rule bending he was able to pull
Right.
off. Because even though he got hit with the ban hammer, he basically opened Pandora's box. From that point on, every cheater in the league knew the door was wide open to push the rules until they broke. But it didn't just
Nah,
start with
that's
teams
crazy,
and coaches
though.
cheating. It started in 1961 during a Patriots-Texans game, when a Patriots fan pulled one of the most egregious acts
What
of
y'all
cheating
think?
of all time.
And watch to the right of your screen as a fan comes on the field to help out the Patriots. Davidson goes back to pass, throws in the end zone. The fan almost blocks it. It's ruled incomplete, and the Patriots win it 28-21.
That announcer has the ice
Boy,
on
that's
a block of
quality
wood.
of some
Because
shit.
that report about the incident says the fans
Golly!
down the pass, and by doing so, the Patriots won the game. If it starts in the 60s, at that point, you gotta wonder if cheating is just in their blood. But fans cheating was just the beginning. As the league cracked down on
I've heard.
technology-based cheating with Paul Brown, teams had to find new ways to outsmart the rules. So they turned to substances, but not the kind you might be thinking.
steroids.
In the 70s, Stickum became the new way to get an edge over other teams. What is Stickum, you may ask? Well, according to the website, it's a grip enhancer. I'm just gonna call it glue. And in the NFL, this glue was made to give you better grip on the ball. Some guys would put it on their socks or their helmets to use throughout the game. But the Raiders, they would basically shower themselves in it.
He did not need a psychological thing with Fred.
That
He
team
just
has
thought
to
he
be
had
asked for
If
y'all to
you
use
shook
some
hands with him
sticky
after the game,
things.
you'd have to follow him into the shower
Some
because you
sticky
couldn't get away
shits.
from him.
I can't even imagine what it was like using the bathroom with that.
Oh,
For the Raiders, Stickum
I
was just the
see
tip
that
of the
on the
iceberg. His
sand.
head coach
Oh,
Al
yeah, they
Davis
were
was like Paul Brown
wiping the
reincarnated.
floor with that thing.
Raider rule number one.
No way I
cheating
just said
is
that.
encouraged.
Y'all gotta shut me
Yeah,
up.
this
I ain't
time
gonna
around,
lie.
the cheating wasn't just from the coach. He was getting players in on it too. And even though it started with Stickum, it got way out of control.
Damn.
Because they were accused of bugging other teams' locker rooms. Apparently, the Chargers head coach thought they had a bug in the light fixture. And even though it was never officially proven, Al Davis didn't exactly deny it, saying, I can tell you one thing, the damn thing wasn't in the fixture. Another unproven but low-key proven claim was that they flood the stadium before games to make it harder for the other team to drive up the field. But that's nothing compared to the trainers turning the team
flood.
pads into literal weapons.
George Anderson, who was our trainer, glazed plaster Paris around my arm, and then you tape over the top of that.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it.
Bro, kill me
Meet
now.
Base 44.
So what I got here is a club.
Imagine getting hit with a baseball bat at full sprint. Well, that's basically what it was like playing the Raiders.
Damn.
And while a lot of teams were annoyed with it, nobody hated the dirty plays more.
And that's
Their
why they're
greatest
ass
rival,
now.
the Steelers. See, in the 70s,
freaking
the Raiders'
garbo
just
this
win
year,
baby
ain't they?
mindset had gotten them
I'm pretty
into
sure they
constant
is.
wars with the Steelers. The Raiders were tough guys using dirty tricks, while the Steelers were even tougher guys but played clean. Well, cleaner than the Raiders. Both teams would always clash in the playoffs. So by the time the 1976 AFC Championship rolled around, the Raiders' whole brand was bending rules. Pittsburgh was ready to put an end to it. And what's the best way to stop cheaters? Just cheat harder. So when the game started, the Raiders came in ready to dominate, but quickly realized something was off.
Is that
Players
a-
were slipping
that's-
left and right. The
that's a pass
sidelines were
interference
iced
nowadays,
over.
ain't
The
it?
turf was like a ballroom dance floor. The field was frozen. And
let
since
me
the
know.
Raiders relied
Let me
heavily on
know.
a deep passing game, that meant the
I will
receivers
sound
couldn't get their
retarded.
footing, and the
Not gonna
Steelers
lie.
took home
I'ma
the
sound like
championship. Al Davis
I'm Mr.
immediately
Know-it-all,
accused the
but I
Steelers of
really don't
deliberately
know it
freezing
all.
the field and demanded an investigation. And you won't believe what the NFL did. Nothing. Turns out if you spend half a decade cheating, nobody's buying it when you play the victim.
That's
So
crazy, though.
officially, the Steelers are innocent. But unofficially, the temperature in Pittsburgh that
Aaron
night
Rodgers
before the game
before
was
Aaron
0
Rodgers.
degrees. So if the ground crew accidentally overwatered the turf before putting the tarp on, let's just say the Raiders might have been onto something, but whether there was sabotage or not, it didn't matter. The Steelers won. And a few years later, the league banned Stickum outright. By 1984, the Raiders had packed up and moved to Los Angeles. But while their Wild West era came to a close, cheating was just getting started in the East. And in 1982, the Patriots had their first and arguably the most out-of-pocket cheating
Jesus
scandal ever.
Christ.
During a December game with the
Whole
Dolphins,
bunch of
both
snow
teams were
down
struggling
there.
to score. Mainly because the entire field was iced out. But
Golly.
this time, they couldn't blame the Steelers. So since both teams
This
could
gotta
barely
be the
advance
worst
the
played
ball,
game in
by
the
the fourth
NFL.
quarter, it was still 0-0.
There gotta
with
be.
just the Patriots field goal attempt
In the
left.
fourth quarter, it was
But
0-0?
So Pats coach Ron Meyer decided to call in a favor from a prison convict.
Oh,
no,
it's-
seriously.
oh, that-
See,
oh,
stadium
it was
worker
bad.
Mark Henderson was on work release from prison. His only job, snowplow the field to clear the yard lines. And he would have done just that if the Pats coach didn't make him do a little extra.
Just a moment ago, the guy who handles the little brush machine came out on the field here to make a place for John Smith to spot the ball. There you see it, that slash mark at the right of your screen. The ball will be spotted at the 23-yard line. For Smith, the left-footed kicker, on the way.
And that's how they
That is
win the
actually
game?
criminal. And Dolphins head coach Don Shula agreed the most unfair act in
that's
NFL
wild.
history. Even the commissioner himself
Nah,
thought it
that's
was unfair,
crazy.
But was basically like, oh well, sucks to suck. Because although the league officially banned
What?
the act after the game, they let the win stand. And for a while, that was kind of the NFL's
What?
thing. Shrug at any minor inconvenience, maybe write a new rule, but otherwise, keep it moving. Which brings us all the way to the late 90s, when the Denver Broncos upgraded cheating from field sabotage
The Denver
to straight up
Broncos. One
fraud.
person would
See, in the
love
late
that.
90s, the Broncos were a powerhouse.
One of my
but it had
homeboys would
kinda
love to
come
hear
out of
about
nowhere.
this.
In the 80s, QB John Elway had taken the team to the Super Bowl 3 years in a row, but they lost every single time, including a particularly pathetic performance in 1989, where the Niners blew them out 55-10.
Holy
And
fuck.
after that humiliation, they faded
guys
into
got
mid-status
belted
for the
to
next few
fucking
years.
ass.
Then suddenly, in 96, they went 13-3, then 12-4, and 14-2. People were definitely shocked. Kind of brushed it off as just another NFL bust that boomed out for a few years. Well, that's what it looks like.
It's
Behind the scenes, the Broncos management had set up secret agreements and deferred payments to Elway and star running back
Shelton,
Terrell
I
Davis.
think.
In simpler
Is
terms,
it?
instead of
No?
salary cap space being eaten up by
his
superstar
name,
salaries,
but
the Broncos could use that extra room to stack players, keep veterans
know,
around,
nope.
and basically make an unbeatable
Nope.
team.
I
So
know
while
it.
other teams
It's
were
coming
forced
to
to
my
cut
head.
and trade talent, the Broncos had a literal Avengers lineup. Good
Shay,
old-fashioned creative
Shay.
financing at work, but apparently
Yep.
not creative enough. Sure, they got away with it for
That's
a
what
few
he's known
years.
by.
but no one, not even an NFL team, can escape an accountant. And when the NFL's management
Club
council
Shay
launched
Shay.
a review and found the undisclosed agreements, they lit them up. The franchise was fined $1 million and lost a third-round pick for payments to Elway and Terrell, and then
Damn.
another $950,000 and lost another third-round pick for the
Damn.
crime of violating the
So
salary
violating
caps. Now,
salary
that is
caps?
how you punish cheaters.
That's a big one.
Unfortunately, it barely scared a single team. Because while cheating in the 20th century definitely saw bad public reactions or bans for the NFL, that was as
feel like
harsh
it
as the
looked
punishments
more-
got.
oh,
The Broncos
oh,
scandal was
okay.
more of an exception than the rule. The Packers were the only team to be kicked out 80 years prior. The NFL even brought back radio to helmet communication. By the 21st century, Al Davis's motto didn't just apply to the Raiders anymore. So everyone just started full sending it. And Tampa Bay's quarterback Brad Johnson has the
Tampa
honor of
Bay's
kicking off this new era of cheating. 'Cause right
quarterback.
before the 2003 Super Bowl, Johnson admitted he paid $7,500 to have every single game ball, all 100 of them, scuffed before kickoff. Why? Because new balls are harder to grip, and Johnson wanted them broken in. And honestly, in a weird
No.
way, that's being fair to the other team.
Hey,
too.
bruh.
Yeah, he technically still cheated, but if it doesn't
That's
actually give you an
glazed.
advantage, I'd argue that's just good sportsmanship, which definitely cannot be said
What?
about this next case of cheating. Because in the 2005 Super Bowl,
What's
the team
y'all
that
thoughts on
cheated
that
was just
one?
the referees.
That's-
Yeah,
Hey.
that's what every team says. But this one was legit. I mean, just look at some of these calls.
Moves to his left, throws.
That's a good. That's a dot. Put it as a dot, boy. Yo, bro.
Not convincing enough? Check out this play where Big Ben scored and the ref switched from signaling
Big
a
Ben.
touchdown.
Big Ben.
Does the ball get to
Big Ben.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
If that's
Big
still not enough, here's one
Ben.
play of the Steelers going offsides.
You're going to see
Fucking
him
love
rush
Ben.
from the outside here.
Ben
Not only did the
Roethlisberger.
ref not make the offsides call on that play, but he actually made a separate call against the Seahawks for holding on that same play. Now, normally, this wouldn't be important enough to bring
That's
up
my
as cheating,
fucking guy.
but 5 years later, Bill Levy, the referee, actually admitted it. It was a tough thing for me. I kicked 2 calls in the fourth quarter, and I impacted the game. It left me with a lot of sleepless nights.
Dude's
I think
IQ
about it
was slept
constantly.
on.
I'll go to
Not
my
even
grave
gonna
wishing
lie.
that I'd been better.
The way
That's
he reads
actually
the
really
defense.
sad. Since then, no other ref has come close to admitting it. Maybe it's because the league, maybe it's because they made their own bets. Either way, this was the last time a ref officially admitted to cheating, but it was just the beginning of cheating
Well,
in
I
the
was dumb as
2000s.
fuck.
'Cause in 2005, Sean Merriman absolutely exploded
Oh,
onto
shit.
the scene in the NFL. He put up 10 sacks in 15 games,
10?
recorded 57
Oh,
tackles,
okay.
and was so cold that he literally got nicknamed
Boy,
Lights
goated.
Out. But recognition like that doesn't come without a price. And soon enough,
Right.
the NFL caught him using steroids.
And so I got tested 2 months before the season started, or a month and a half before the season
You got
started.
caught
so it
using
takes like 6 to 8
steroids.
weeks before sometimes
I
you
bet
get
you're
the
still
results
on them
back.
now. Look at your
But I actually
shoulders,
popped.
bro.
I got suspended during the off season. I took my suspension. during the
Man.
season. At no point in time did I ever test
Jesus.
positive after that. It was that particular time during the off season of the supplements I was taking, and I wasn't. It was on the ban list, and I just didn't know. And I got suspended for something that was over the counter. Like you can go to any vitamin shop or whatever, and what happened was that they put it on the list from the previous year, wasn't there, and so me being me, I didn't look at anything. So when the PA sends out this new thing before, and it was on there, but I just balled it up and put it in my locker because I was like, I'm not taking anything different.
I don't know about all that, man. Those arms don't exactly scream, I'm just taking vitamin B. And the NFL thought the same thing. So
No,
they
seriously,
suspended
them
Meriden
shoulders
for 4 games.
Them
Funnily
them
enough,
shoulders
though,
definitely
he
screaming
still
some
finished the year
vitamin.
with those monster stats.
Something.
And fans still
Still
voted
right.
him
I
into the
don't
Pro
know
Bowl,
all the
which the
what
NFL did
the
not like.
raw
The fact that I
vitamins
made
do.
the Pro Bowl and then was up like top 3, finished defensive player of the year, they made that rule where you can't go to the postseason
You're fucked.
if you get suspended.
Honestly, if you're so good on roids that the league's got to make
White
a rule to
crazy.
slow you down, that's kind of a flex. But at least 2006 only saw one player cheating. In 2007, 2 entire
When I was
franchises got called out. But one was a little more famous than the other because, yet again, it involved the Patriots. And this time, it wasn't some low-key funny thing like using a snowplow.
Oh, snap.
They were caught by the
Wait,
Jets
is
head
this
coach
the one?
Eric Mangini filming the Jets signals from the sideline.
But you had to go to your owner or GM and
Oh,
say,
nope, this
what
is
they're
not the
doing.
one. This is
Yeah,
not
it
the one
was-
at
it was-
all. This is not
I was
the
coaching
one
the
at
game,
all.
so it's not like I was going to run over the sideline.
No,
and say,
there's this,
"Hey, don't
there's
do
this,
So
there's.
You go to your superiors and say,
It might be
If
on
it
this
happens,
video,
it-
low
you-
key.
You couldn't even predict whether or not it was
About
gonna
Tom
happen
Brady's
or
little,
not in our plays. It's just if this happens, shut it down.
Obviously, when
Little
Roger
cheating
Goodell
moment.
heard about this, he was not happy.
I think-
so he slapped Belichick with
I
a
forgot what it was
$500,000
about.
fine, hit the franchise with another
They're gonna speak about it in this
$200,000,
video.
and
I
stripped
think,
their
I
rights
hope.
to a first-round draft pick in
'Cause-
2008. Belichick played stupid at first, but in a CBS interview, he was
Oh,
reminded
Bill
of something
Belichick.
kind of important. Goodell
Good
had
old-
told
good
all
old-
the owners
good
that
old-
filming
good
an
old
opposing
Belichick.
team would result in severe punishment. And when further pressed on it, Belichick finally cracked.
You had gotten that memo. I mean, you couldn't be any more clearer than 2006.
I made a mistake. I was wrong. I was wrong.
You flat out cheated. What do you say to those people?
What I said to you. I told you the truth.
Bro really lost $500K and just shrugged it off. But to make it even crazier, as the season went on, evidence eventually came out that showed the Pats filming games dated all the way back to 2000. But despite that, Goodell shrugged it off. Belichick shrugged it off. The icing on the cake, during the very same 2007, the Patriots had the nerve to accuse the Colts of cheating. Yeah, that's an unreal
The
pivot
Colts?
move. But it worked. The media switched
I've
to
actually
covering the
no-
Colts
I
for
don't
allegedly
remember the
pumping
last
fake
time the
crowd
Colts
noises
were
into
good.
the RCA
I'ma
Dome.
keep it
And while
real.
that sounds weird, just listen to this weird as hell echo from the stands.
Hey, the pass. That's why I used to go.
CBS tried saying it was a
Tom
broadcasting
Brady.
glitch,
Yeah.
but after all I've seen making this video, there's literally not a chance in hell I'm buying that. The NFL probably didn't even buy it, but after dealing with Spygate all season, they just let it slide. And after that monstrous scandal, they probably let a bunch of other stuff slide too. I mean, the only sort of notable thing that happened between 2007 and 2012 was the Giants being accused of fake injuries. Because during a game against the Rams were using their no-huddle offense. So to save a timeout, Young Grant and Jaquan Williams came in to save the day.
And the Giants have a couple players down.
They just say
Up
fucking
against
B-ball.
two guys go down and fake injuries.
Impressive recovery from Grant to come back on the
that's
same
legal.
play. But luckily for them, they got off with a slap on the wrist. The NFL released a memo to all NFL teams threatening punishment against players who fake injuries. And even though the other teams
Damn.
all accepted the memo, they
Just
had
like
to know
flopping
who
in the
it was really
league
about.
and
Those
the
Giants
NBA.
players had
Yup,
active
yup.
NBA flubs.
What did I say?
While they were auditioning for the CW,
What
the
did
Saints
I
were getting
say?
ready to drop the next big
bro,
scandal of the century. But this time, Roger Goodell didn't
My
let the
head
team
is
off the
on
hook like the
1,000
Patriots.
right
He came
now.
down with the wrath of God. Because the Saints were caught
Golly.
running a bounty program. If you don't know what that is, it's
Fuck.
basically where players tossed
Yo,
in
my-
cash into a pot and payouts were handed out for
Now
big
it's
hits
getting
on the
bad,
opposing
bro.
team. But I'm talking
I'm about to take
huge
these out
hits,
soon.
like
It's getting-
life-threatening
it's getting to a
hits.
point.
I mean, the Saints defensive coordinator Greg Williams couldn't have put it any better.
That comes from fear. This is how you get respect in this league. Single one of you, before you get off the pile, affect the head. We want him running sideways.
That is
We
for
want
like a week
his
now.
head sideways.
Shockingly, none of this audio came to light for years. And to be fair, if you're one of the guys taking in extra money, why would you ever report it? But the thing about keeping a system like that secret is that it only works if nobody talks. And someone always talks. By 2012, a whistleblower walked into the NFL offices with proof. Notes, testimony, payout structure, and even specific games where it was used. And of course, that included the infamous Saints-Viking NFC Championship, as Brett Favre was getting hit like a punching bag.
Third catch for Barry.
Oh, the PA.
Percy and Brett Favre
again took another hit. And you're going to see him come
Play
in
action.
right as Favre lets go of the ball and a clean hit. You're right, Joe. They've gotten some knockdowns on Brett Favre, but you see Hargrove, he comes right inside, and I think that was a bad call. You know,
did get his ass. He got his ass fucking.
You could practically feel that last one. And with that, the NFL also felt they had seen enough and absolutely nuked the team. The team was fined $500,000. They lost 2 second-round draft picks. Head coach Sean Payton was banned for the whole season. GM Mickey Loomis was banned half the season, and Greg Williams was suspended indefinitely. In 1 year, the Saints went from a 13-3 record to just 7-9. So clearly, for once, the punishment worked. How satisfying. Well, probably not as satisfying as seeing Ray Lewis recover from an injury just in time for the Super Bowl. The only difference is that he had to cheat to do it, because tearing your tricep is no joke.
Next play, I'm watching his eyes. I say, jump, Lou. Put your hands up. Knock the ball down. Pick it. I do none of the above. He throws the ball. I put my hands up in the air. The moment I come down, I hit one of the lineman helmet and I hear my triceps snap.
If you've ever torn a muscle, you know how bad that hurts. Now imagine playing 5 more snaps with one, because that's exactly what Ray did.
Tanner. And a good pickup on first down, 7 yards.
Dude's arm is literally limp, and he still makes the play. What an absolute animal. But continuing the play is what really screwed him, or should have screwed him. Because even with surgery, kind of injury would take 5 months minimum to recover from. But this was week 6, and the Ravens ended up making it to the Super Bowl. So he didn't have 5 months. That's when Deer Antler came into play. Wait, what? Yeah, Ray went on some science-based witchcraft to recover. See, a report linked him to using something called Deer Antler Spray, a supplement made from deer velvet that contains a banned super-strength growth hormone. And this would explain why he recovered just in time for the Super Bowl. Obviously, Ray denied it and brushed it off as defamation. And luckily for him, the NFL let him off the hook too. But you gotta wonder, were his genetics just completely goated? Or was he out here huffing deer bones? Well, the world may never know. But 2013 held one incident that we all knew was cheating. Because it really doesn't get more obvious than the Mike Tomlin play.
There, and Tomlin is essentially on the field here.
But unlike everyone else on this list, Mike actually owned up to it.
My descriptions of my actions on that play are a lot of things: embarrassing, inexcusable, illegal, a blunder, being many of the things that I use to describe it.
That's probably how everyone also describes it. But honestly, respect to him for taking accountability. I mean, he 100% deserved the $100,000 fine that he got.
I'm dead ass.
The apology is a nice
I don't know why coach was standing on the field.
I wasn't kidding when I said everyone started cheating this century. And it hasn't slowed down since Mike Tomlin. If anything, Tomlin was just the first domino of a brand new era. Because from 2013 to 2015, there were more scandals and allegations flying around than there were for almost all of the 20th century. And first, we're going back to the Seahawks. Except this time, they weren't the victims.
She
they were
works
the
every news
culprits.
channel.
Because for 3 straight years, during their championship window, players were getting caught for more
Telling you,
substance
all
abuse
Chinese
problems
people
than
look the same.
Jesse Pinkman. Richard Sherman tested positive for Adderall, but got his suspension overturned. Alan Barber was removed from the roster for performance-enhancing drugs. And Bruce Irvin, Brandon Browner, John Moffitt, Winston Guy, and Via Tatua all received 4-game suspensions after testing positive for even more PEDs. They already had beast mode on their team. They could have won games without the drugs. Oh, right. Maybe the PEDs were valid then, but despite one of the worst Super Bowl losses ever, at least the Seahawks got to watch their opponents go down in flames. Just when you thought the Patriots had gone to rehab for cheating, they came back in 2015 with a little event called Deflategate. But it actually started before their Super Bowl win. See, in the AFC Championship earlier that year, Colts linebacker DeQuil Jackson picked off Tom Brady and handed the ball off to a staffer. And by sheer luck, the staffer realized something big. The ball was way softer than it was supposed to be.
This is what I'm talking
tested
about.
all game balls and found that they were far under the legally required 12.5 PSI. When you're playing in
this is
wet
what I'm
conditions,
talking
it makes
about.
the ball easier to grip, catch, and throw. Obviously, the NFL launched a full investigation that lasted all the way through their Super Bowl win and finished in May with the Wells report. And unless you want to scroll through this 300-page thing yourself, I'll just drop the most
And this
important
started the
part.
Tom Brady hate too.
Probable than
People
not
used to
that the
hate.
Patriots staff deliberately
People
deflated
hated
the
the
balls.
fuck out of Tom
Belichick
Brady
both
when he did
denied
this.
knowing, but avoiding the problem wouldn't work this time. The NFL suspended Brady for 4 games, fined the Patriots a whopping $1 million.
Shit,
and
damn.
lost their 4th
$1 million?
round pick
Woo!
2 years in a row. While Tom
And
Brady
y'all
was
lost
sitting in the locker room for Deflategate, Peyton Manning was fighting off allegations of drug use.
I think they won the Super Bowl those 2 years too.
Also addressed a
I don't know.
that linked him
Peyton
to
Manning had an
growth
investigation.
hormone,
What happened to
performance
Peyton
enhancing
Manning?
drug that's banned by the NFL.
Huh? That's random. Well, not
He was
that
banned
random.
by the
See,
NFL?
back in 2009, this happened to Manning.
It's the hit there, Phillip Daniels. going up high on him around his neck.
And to be honest, if there was ever a reason to use drugs, that injury would be the best one. Then in 2015, the Al Jazeera documentary dropped and claimed that he had used HGH to recover faster. But Payton was not having it. Not only did he deny the allegations, but he also threatened to sue Charles Sly, the maker of the documentary. And what do you know? The very next day, Charles walked back on his statements.
I am recanting any such statements, and there is no truth to any statement of mine that Al Jazeera plans to air.
I'm no detective, but it seems pretty clear that Charles was reading off a paper, most likely to save himself from being sued into oblivion. So after that, the news surrounding Manning faded pretty quickly, and it went to the way of Ray Lewis. Just not enough to make him guilty, but not enough to prove him innocent. But while Manning dodged a bullet of his life, Jerry Rice ran straight towards the gun.
I
And if you
know
don't know
somebody.
this,
I
it
know
might
a little
ruin
somebody
your
like
view
Jerry
of it.
Rice.
You've been warned.
This might be a little illegal, guys. I just put a little spray, a little stickum on them, you know, just to make sure that texture is a little sticky.
Okay, obviously not the biggest news of the century. Even without Stickum, he'd probably still be the GOAT. Still, it does make you wonder how many he would have dropped without it. Well, probably not as many times as teams that had to face the Falcons in the 2010s.
I honestly
'Cause
think
in
that's how I
2013
heard
and
of him.
2014, the Falcons were accused of pumping fake crowd noises
Not
into
even
their
trolling.
stadiums. Their response? Nothing. They just kind of prayed the allegations would go away like they did with Manning. Unfortunately for them, they did not. And in 2015, they were actually caught and handed a $350,000 fine, in addition to losing their 5th-round draft pick. You know the Colts were
Yo,
wiping
they
sweat
be
off their
losing their
faces with
picks
that one.
after
But
they
the
like
Falcons got caught,
do this
cheating
certain
headlines
shit.
finally
Nah,
went
that's
wild for a
wild.
few years.
Losing
Not because
picks,
teams
I feel
suddenly
like
started
that's the
going to
worst
church
side
every
of
day,
like
but because
this
Goodell
whole
clearly
suspension.
proved that you can get punished for
You just
team-wide
lose your
scandals.
fucking.
So most of the
You
dirt
lose
shifted
that
to just
year's pick.
one unbeatable classic area: PEDs. Roids are so old school by this point, it's almost wholesome that players and teams went back to the classics. The first notable case was when Texans linebacker Brian Cushing got caught in 2010, then again in 2017. But that surprised absolutely no one.
It's busted, buddy. Oh. You're looking to let him bitch you like that? Yeah! Run my 30s, run my 30s, run my 30s, run my 30s!
Strong too, but I've never seen that kind of rage out of a natty player. Dude took an unpredicted headbutt from a 300-pound
Oh,
guy
dead
like he got
ass,
hit with a
though.
pillow. But he
That
wasn't the
heavy-ass
only one getting
helmet.
caught taking rage juice.
Wait,
in
why did-
2019, Cardinals
why
corner
did you
Patrick
take your
Peterson
helmet
got
off?
nailed with a
There's no way
6-game
you're that
PED
pissed to wear it.
suspension.
Oh.
And 2 years later, same team,
Take
same
my helmet
punishment.
off
But this
and,
time it was
yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins sitting on the bench.
What?
And finally, in 2024,
Come on now.
Detroit's wide receiver
My
James
Detroit
Williams
Lions.
was
I
given
am a Detroit
2-game
Lions
suspension
fan.
for failing a PED test. Cheating in the NFL
Oh.
will never go away. It'll just keep evolving. We've gone from the Broncos fraud of the 90s to World War II tech
True.
being used on the field to the Raiders weaponizing
Cheating
their
will
pads in the
keep
70s,
evolving
and the
in
Patriots
the
cheating their
NFL.
way through a whole
Let me know
Every
if
generation
you guys,
finds a
you
new
know,
way to bend the
think
rules
any
until they
different,
break,
but
or just breaks them
it's
right off
looking
the
like
bat.
it,
But
to
as the
be
league has
real.
gotten stricter and stricter, finding loopholes
It looks
becomes
like
harder and
stick.
harder. Not that
It
that's a
looks
bad
like stickums were the big thing back in the 1989.
thing.
Think
but
that's
it's
when
gotten to the point where
Stickums
cheating
were
isn't even about
were
actual
pretty
illegal
big.
activities anymore. Now fans debate whether legal plays like the tush push
Jalen
become
Hurts?
illegal, or
Tush
debate
push.
the ethics of Tom Brady being an owner and broadcaster.
No,
My
that's
question
funny.
is, who cares? Instead of making a
No,
play
that's funny.
illegal,
And the
maybe
tush
get
push
creative.
is very
Bring in
much
some
known
college
for
kids, bring in some
Philadelphia.
new tech, bring in some
Very
stick-up.
much.
Yeah, cheating is never good, but it at least makes the game interesting.
That's funny. No, cheating does. I don't know. Something about cheating, man. It's like, to a certain extent, I know it's like it's a winning type of game, winning type of competition and stuff like that. But it's like, to an extent, you don't have to really cheat to win. That just puts a bad reputation on the player and the brand you're using itself. It's just like it just doesn't make sense. I feel like it's gonna really ruin it. It ruins the NFL in general. Surprisingly, it hasn't really that much. But I guess back then is when, that's when things really weren't as strong and shit like that. So, can't really say much about it. But anyway, after me yapping about, I don't even know if I made sense. But other than that, yeah, this will be the end of the video. I'm glad if you guys watched this whole thing through, you are getting $20 from Cash App. And daily question of the day. All right. Drum roll, please. Who is your favorite NFL player? Any position of all time. And why? I will argue with you in the comments. Possibly. Because I don't know shit about football. Some shit about football.